the reason that I chose this committee was because I wanted the people in front of my children to have strong values and to be able to do an effective job. They spend just as much time around my children as I spend around my children. So if you cannot perform 100% to my children and provide, I don't want you in front of my kids. Just that simple. I love this district. We have no intentions on moving. We have no intentions on going to a charter school. We are here to stay. We don't want to be let down by anybody. Teachers, leadership, we want to be here. We're not going to turn tail and run. We don't try to complain. We just want effective, high-quality staff, good leadership, clean buildings. We're not asking for much. We just want things to be.
Thank you.
Not much at all.
I want to talk a little bit about the process we went through. Do you want to say a few words about that, Carly?
Sure. I'll actually stand up and I have my keys. I find that I get up in the morning, I put these on, I don't take them off till, right before bed. So if I don't have them on, I'm not centered.
Can I say who you are?
Yes, I will say, I'm Carla Gressley. I'm the principal of Estabrook Elementary in Ypsilanti. I was part of this process from the get-go, and I too think it's really important to have high-quality teachers in the classroom and who are dedicated to our students and focused. The process that we followed for this, and I'm very impressed with our committee, because we are made up of administrators, retired administrators and teachers, parents from both districts, teachers from both districts, an administrator, a central office administrator, we just have, and then the WYSD. So we have this very eclectic group that all bring a different facet of thinking to our group. And it's been a pleasure to work in this group. One of the things that we did after we came up with the commitments and the boards.
I'll jump.
Okay. We came up with our commitments and we said, this is what we're looking for. And then we as a group came together last week and said, okay, how do we get at that? How do we look for those pieces that we think are really important, that we came together and said, this is what we're looking for. This would be the perfect person to teach our children. How do we get to that? And we came up with the application process, so we can get through some of that through the application. We'll get some of it through a resume. We'll get some interview questions together that will help us get to some of the commitments. And then we'll also have some classroom observations. So we looked for many different ways, not just one way, so that we can make sure that we're really investigating and making sure that we give teachers a good chance to show what they have to offer. And I want to say, one of the things that also really impresses me is how authentic this has been. When we get together in our groups, we get in small groups, we talk about it, we come back together as a large group, and our work is what is being presented. So I'm thankful to be part of this group. I'm happy that all of our pieces that we're putting together, I think, are spot on, and if we look for these kind of people, we are going to be dynamite, and we already have staff that fits this criteria to the max. So I'm really looking forward to starting this process, and I think you're going to do the next part. So.
Do you want to say some more about our evidence?
Our evidence?
Do you mind?
Sure. Which piece of it?
Just in general about how we thought about it.
Yeah.
This is Tiffany Mara. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Tiffany Mara. I have a 3-year-old who will be coming into this district. I'm also a faculty member at University of Michigan Dearborn and a community member, which brought me to this process. My thinking was, I have no reason to complain if I'm not a part of the solution, so I came on board. What has been most striking to me throughout this, so I actually started last summer working on this, the high quality teacher group. And the reason I kept coming back was because I kept seeing the voice of the work that came out of last summer reemerge throughout the process. And to me, that said that people are listening, and if people are listening, I'll keep talking. So, not tonight. So that's the nature of faculty members, right? But, so, when we were thinking about evidence, it was amazing how the trust and respect in the group developed, and how everybody's voice really came to the table there as well. And that we had teachers there, and we were coming up with ideal scenarios of, oh, well, this would be great if we could do this. And they're looking at us like, are you crazy? We've got science fair. We've got all of these commitments already to the end of the term, and we're supposed to put together a resume, an application packet, go through an interview process, be observed, and do all this stuff. So as you see the evidence here, we were trying to negotiate this very balance between current commitments, prioritizing teachers who are already in the district, making it reasonable for them, but also making sure that when we make decisions that it's very evidence-based and that it is demonstrating the points that we're trying to collect around high-quality teaching, about a commitment to the community. And as we were coming up with the terms, like even the term commitment was something that had to be thought through, because we thought of what are the qualifications, or what are the requirements, right? But then it came up from, again, the teachers in the group, well, maybe we haven't had a chance to go through professional development, to know how to do community outreach, or to work effectively with parents. It doesn't mean we're not committed to it, but it just means we need some guidance around it. So the term commitment is really the notion of, if you're committed to these ideas, if the teachers are willing to work at community outreach, well then we're willing to work with them to get to the point where they can do what we're hoping in the ideal scenario.
What the folks in the audience can't see is that I put one example on this slide for lifelong learning and kind of the different kinds of evidence we collect. For each one of those commitments, all 10 of them, we're very strategic. Can we best collect that evidence in the application? Can we best collect it through the interview? Can we best collect it when we do the site visit, the classroom visit? So it's very careful, and every one of those commitment areas has at least 2 pieces of evidence that we are going to intentionally collect, and some have 3 or 4 or 5. For the teacher, this is going to be a 3-step process. They'll be, do you like that?
I like the arrows, yes.
They'll fill out the application first. They will then have a team visit them in their classroom for a short visit, and then they'll have a very short interview. On their site, we want to be where they're most comfortable. The selection team, this was the team, the teachers in our group really, we put a lot of thought into how many people should you have, who should they be, how would that work? And we also know we have an awful lot of these to do. So there was a lot of figuring out mathematically how long will it take, how many people. So we decided for the teacher selection team, we would have 4 people on that team. 1 administrator, 2 teachers, and 1 parent. For the folks who would be applying now, we would be using retired administrators and retired teachers. Or we would have faculty from the universities who have experience and knowledge in teaching to serve on that committee. For the principal selection teams, we have, again, 4 members, 2 administrators, 1 teacher, and 1 parent. And again, these will be, this first round, retired administrators, retired teachers, current parents, we'll need some volunteers. Later on, once we've hired that first round of folks, and when we get to the place next year when we need to bring on a new teacher, we'll still use a 4-person team, only it'll be, teachers from the district or from the building where the opening is.
So for this first